Doi thing.
That's what they wanted in Iran, which is a country of almost 100 million people. So what would be the natural, obvious, well-documented effects of this? Well, migrant crises in Europe, further destroy Europe. Well, that's always been an Israeli goal, destroy Europe. But that's the actual goal. But none of the advocates for this war, staying the course, exerting American power, no one in this country will admit it. And so instead, they hypnotize Trump voters with, we have to be strong. We can't appease the Iranians. Okay, what's your plan? You're the same person who told us that killing the Ayatollah, murdering an 80-something-year-old religious leader, was going to collapse the regime. It didn't work. So what do you think will work? And they have no idea. Because their real goal is so ugly that they can't say it out loud. But Trump, Trump made it much worse. Again, this is the last group of Americans who reliably support Trump, neocons. He did what they wanted. They've been talking about this war, as Netanyahu himself said, for 30-odd years. And Trump is the first American president who actually did it. He fell for it. They lured him into the trap and he just jumped, hoped for the best. Trump understands how shafted he got. He understands just how fooled he was. And he's clearly bitter about it. And he understands further that in order to get out of this, he needs to make this deal, bad as it may be, because there's no option. And he knows that the only force that can prevent this deal from actually happening is not the US Congress, it's the government of Israel. They will try to queer the deal, as they have so many times. They'll try to blow it up. And so Trump knows that he has to diminish Benjamin Netanyahu, and not just Netanyahu, but the state of Israel's moral legitimacy in the United States in order to keep going. And so amazingly, he's done that. Someone who knows Trump very well once said to me 15 years ago, long before he became president, said, in the end, Trump disappoints everyone. And it looks like it's Benjamin Netanyahu's turn to be disappointed. Here's Donald Trump today at the G7 in Europe describing Israel's behavior.
And you'll see that when you see the agreement, but it's appropriate that we release the agreement. And we did send a copy to Israel, by the way. They've been a good partner. Again, I think they could do better with respect to Hezbollah. I'm not saying they shouldn't protect themselves. I'm saying when two drones are shot into the desert and drop harmlessly, you don't have to knock down buildings in Beirut. They could behave better. And frankly, they could do a better job. I love them as a partner. They were terrific, but they could do a much better job with Hezbollah.
Wow. Consider that for a moment. And he said a lot of things like that in the last 24 hours. But just in that statement, he said, by the way, we sent Israel a copy of the agreement. Oh, you sent them a copy, did you? You BCC'd them? Didn't consult Israel. They're a participant. They're our partner in this war. This is a joint war we are waging with the government of Israel somehow. First time in American history that's ever happened. Not a good idea, by the way. Note to self, don't do that again, bitch. That's exactly what that means. Shh, adults are talking. It's exactly what Trump is saying. At one point, not in that clip, but in another from yesterday, he said, I just think it's just too much. It's just too much. I think going forward, we may leave the fight against Hezbollah to, Jelani, who runs Syria. He's a good guy. Let him handle it. He'll do it in a more measured way. Now, Jelani, of course, is a former al-Qaeda leader who is running Syria, really in thanks to Israeli pressure. So we have to have the former al-Qaeda leader, al-Qaeda, which they told us did 9/11. I don't know if you remember that. Remember those 19 Arabs with box cutters who killed 3,000 Americans? That was the story anyway. One of those guys is now our ally in Syria. And by the way, that guy, the former al-Qaeda leader, he's just a more reasonable person. He's just more humane than Benjamin Netanyahu. I mean, I like them all. They're all good guys. But really, if you're looking for humane treatment of civilians, you got to go to the al-Qaeda guy, not the Israeli prime minister. That's what the president said. It's unbelievable. If I said that,
Doi thing.
Bitch. The real goal is the Israeli goal. And the Israeli goal is not regime change or end of the nuclear program. The Israeli goal is chaos, bitch. That's exactly what that means.